Hello, I'm Bernie Hayes. Today's guest is Mr. Walle Amusa from the Campaign for Human Dignity. Today on The Bernie Hayes Show. Welcome back, my longtime friend, Walle Amusa. Walle, welcome.
Bernie, say good morning, Bernie. Good morning, St. Louis.
Yes.
Good morning, America, and good morning, the world. Wherever we find ourselves, we're always blessed to just see another day.
Precisely.
So I'm very happy to be on your show this morning. My name is Walle Amusa, co-chair of the Campaign for Human Dignity. And I'm honored to say that I'm a friend to legendary Bernie Hayes.
Legendary. Oh, boy, minute. Oh. Tell me, Walle, what is the Campaign for Human Dignity and how did it get started and why?
Well, the Campaign for Human Dignity started about 40 years ago around the efforts to meet a fundamental human need. You know, all over the world, we haven't started making babies that don't get sick. Healthcare is a fundamental human necessity. And it came into existence to save Homer G. Phillips Hospital and all public hospitals. So it wasn't just a black thing. It was about providing healthcare, access to healthcare, especially for those who are least able to afford it. So the Campaign for Human Dignity came about in 1979, 1980, about 43, 44 years ago.
Sure.
To save Homer G. Phillips Hospital, City #1 Hospital, and other public hospitals, especially in the St. Louis region. Those were the two main ones. And it was heavily involved in that struggle. Eventually, the Campaign for Human Dignity became an advocate, not just for healthcare, but also for other human rights issues. The right to quality education, the right to affordable housing, the right to live in a community where your democratic rights are protected. They don't have to be renegotiated every 15 years in the U.S. Congress, like we have to do with civil rights and stuff like that. Today, the Campaign for Human Dignity is we're kicking off a new initiative, the whole question of human rights.
Okay.
We have searched through all of the documents, the great documents of the American democratic system. We searched through all of the constitutions of various states in the United States. And nowhere can we find anything that affirms the equality of human rights for anybody in this country, in any state. We talk about civil rights, we talk about voting rights, but the fact that the human species is one. It's not two different kinds.
Right. Okay.
There is no question as to the fact that the crux of the matter, at the very core of racism, at the very core of a lot of the jingoistic things that we have, is that there are some people who feel that they are superior than other human beings. And then there is a system that is set up sometimes to perpetuate that supremacy. And therein lies the problem. Because whenever you feel like you're superior than somebody, you tend to put a lower value on those people who are supposedly inferior to you.
Precisely. Yeah.
And that is the crux of the American challenge, is that there is no effort to actually push for equal human rights. If a police officer has to take an oath that starts with, I believe in equal human rights, and support the Constitution of the United States, we will have a different transformative disposition.
Wow. Okay.
All over the country, in every community. But we have police officers, we have politicians, we have all kinds of people who swear not to protect a constitution that does not provide for equality of human rights. So they behave and operate. And the fact that they do not believe in equal rights is reflected in their behavior. Understanding is action. When people don't know, it shows in their behavior. When people don't believe in equal human rights, it shows in their behavior. They treat their family one way, and they treat the rest of the community another way. So we are trying to look for very direct, simple, not controversial. We're not talking about somebody being superior to another. We're talking about building a new society that is based on equal treatment of human beings who have equal rights.
Mm-hmm. So what's your highway to this? Well, what's your journey? What's your blueprint? What's your plan?
We're going to have a conference, a human rights conference in St. Louis within the next 3 months.
Okay.
And we're going to begin to create what I call a coalition of people, organizations, and individuals. Mm-hmm. And everyone is free to become a member. It is not it's not a conference that's going to be talking about who is better than who is fairer than who is superior to who. It's going to be about how do we make small incremental changes to level the playing field. Okay. And the first way we have to start is by defining the problem properly. Not somebody voting on whether I should have a right to vote or not, or whether I should have civil rights, because in this country we don't pass civil rights for white people. We only pass it for people of color.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't pass voting rights to constrain the abilities or extend the opportunities for white people to vote. You know, we only do that when it comes to the rights of African Americans and minorities and others.
Sure.
So, but when we redefine the problem in a non-antagonistic manner, where everybody can see themselves in the picture, then we create an environment that's more open to collaborative endeavors. You can imagine how much potential is being wasted every day when schools in African American communities or in poor communities receive less resources, while schools in those communities that are well endowed, so to speak, that have resources, that have better tax rates, that provide better funding, that have smaller class sizes. We can see just because of the way we define people in our society. Mm-hmm. So what we are trying to do is to, first of all, bring together in a non-antagonistic process where everybody is welcome, regardless of their religion, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their faith, whatever it is, regardless of their qualification, regardless of their age, regardless of their cultural background. We need to create an environment where every group can thrive by creating a platform upon which everybody can stand equally. Mm-hmm. Equal human rights must be the challenge for domestic issues, for national issues, and definitely for international issues. Because we're seeing the consequences of the absence of an understanding that all human beings, regardless of their faith, gender, ethnicity, or station in life, are equal. Mm-hmm. And they're deserving of equal human rights.
Mm-hmm. If you recognize this problem, why has it taken so long to act on it?
Well, sometimes, you see, history moves in a very interesting way. Mm-hmm. 100 years ago, nobody could visualize where we are today. Because 100 years ago, we were in the depth of Jim Crow. Mm-hmm. We were in the depth of the most vicious, the most destructive, the most insidious devaluation of human life. That you have a country whereby it wasn't just a system of separate and so-called equal.
So-called equal.
So-called equal.
Yeah.
It was separate, it was unequal. But the net effect of it was there was a devastating, massive wastage of human potential. People were denied education. People were denied housing. People were denied health care. All kinds of things were denied.
Sure.
But we can see in the last 100 years where the world is today, with independence of literally hundreds of nations all over the world.
Okay.
With the,
Let me interrupt you for a second. We're going to take a break here, Walle.
Sure.
Please hold that point, because I want you to come back to it. We're the New Life Evangelistic Center, 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri, where Reverend Larry Rice has been saving souls for more than 52 years. We'll be right back with Walle Amusa after this.
Hey viewers of the Bernie Hayes Show, have you ever seen so many people as you travel around the streets of St. Louis City, St. Louis County, over in Illinois, Jefferson County, St. Charles County, that are homeless? So many out on street corners, so many people are having to sleep outside in vacant buildings. The New Life Evangelistic Center's got teams going out every day, working among those individuals, taking them hundreds of bottles of water every week, hundreds and hundreds of sandwiches. And now as winter comes upon us, we're having to get blankets and sleeping bags and tents, long underwear, even making little canned heaters, just so many, many needs. And that's why your involvement in New Life Evangelistic Center is so very important. You could be a volunteer and go out on the streets with us. Call us at 314-421-3020. During this holiday season, you could actually help make these canned heaters. We'll show you how to do it, where you get a gallon can and put some sand in it, and then you put a smaller soup can in there and a candle in the middle of that and a quart can over that. I mean, just a lot of creative things New Life Evangelistic Center is doing. That's why we really want to encourage you to go to our website at nlecstl.org to learn about them there. Feel free to call us at 314-421-3020. Please remember the work of New Life Evangelistic Center in your prayers. And please share that much-needed gift. New Life receives no city, state, or federal dollars. And your giving is so very, very important. And it goes so far in New Life Evangelistic Center. We have a dedicated team of volunteers and trainees that take every dollar that you send in and provide $3 worth of direct services helping the poor and the homeless, the fatherless, the widowed. Please get your business involved, your church involved, and send those gifts to New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166. Or you can give online at nlecstl.org. We need your partnership at this particular time. Our teams are going out daily among the poorest to the poor, and we need your help now as we move in these winter months. Your gifts, your prayers are absolutely essential at this moment.
Welcome back. My guest is Walle Amusa from the Campaign for Human Dignity, and we're talking about why you just recognize it. You recognize the problem, but now some action is being taken.
that is because society moves in processes. A whole series of events that accumulate and become a platform for what is going to happen next. The fact is that 100 years ago, nobody could visualize the internet. Nobody could visualize color TV or a smartphone. Dick Tracy's, used to be Dick Tracy, watches on cartoons. Nobody could visualize what we now call artificial intelligence at the level that it is exploding right before us.
Sure.
So the fact is that societies go through stages of development. We've gone through stages of the struggle for decolonization of virtually half of the world, where the British Empire was so vast, the sun would never set on it.
Precisely. Yeah.
We've gone through stages whereby, over 60, 75 years of independence, where countries are still suffering from the vestiges of the colonial era, where the economies are still shackled and tied to the empire that used to be the head of the colony.
Sure.
So sometimes questions do not come to us until the time is ripe for us to deal with them. And the question of equal human rights, it was right to deal with it right after the Second World War, when Jewish people suffered the most devastating assault on their existence at the hand of Nazi Germany. But a lot of people forget, it wasn't just 6 million people that died in Second World War. 50 million people lost their lives during Second World War.
Right.
And it included people from all over the world. There were Africans that fought in North Africa, on the side of the Allies.
Yeah.
The Soviet Union back then lost 20 million of their citizens in the Second World War. But many times we don't see that. But that war was so devastating that at the end of that war, the international community came together, created the United Nations, in which countries now become members of the United Nations. At that time, there were no African countries. They were part, maybe outside of Ethiopia, which was the only country that was not colonized on the African continent. But since then, you've had 54 African countries that are now the United Nations. You had the creation of the State of Israel under some very, very difficult circumstances that still continue to create challenges today.
Right.
Even till today. So the issue of equal human rights is right on time. Society has been moving steadily. There are now international laws that define how you fight a war. There are now international laws that define how you treat those who are captured in war. There are international laws that define how you occupy, when you occupy, how you treat the people that are occupied. There are international laws about treating everybody equally. There's a Declaration of Human Rights that's celebrated every December 10th. So what we're doing is trying to look at the incredible heritage that the struggle of humanity has left us today. It has taken us to a point where we can now say, truly, even in our community, the question of equal human rights must never be one in which we have to argue over.
Well, for those who agree with you and take your position, how can they reach you and support you?
Well, the Campaign for Human Dignity has a website. Okay. People can go on the website, nationalchd.org. They can go on the website. They can send us a little note. They can give us their address and stuff like that, give us their emails. They can participate. What eventually we would like to do is to have these issues addressed in every community all across the country. Because every citizen, every resident must have the preservation of their dignity. See, human dignity is indivisible. You cannot say we have dignity just for some, or we respect the dignity or extend dignity to some and not to others. Human rights are indivisible. We cannot divide and say some have so much and others have so much more. It is a prescription for crisis, a prescription for, division, is a prescription for, what I call wars and disagreements, when the fundamental integrity of the human personality is not acknowledged up front. It has become the first step that we take in building a better society, a better community, a better world. So, Campaign for Human Dignity, from our humble beginnings in St. Louis, we're now beginning to address an issue that brings that question of dignity into everybody's household.
Well, your profession training is in healthcare. So how did you get to this point in your life?
I tell you this. I have met the best people you could ever know in the world right here in St. Louis. When I came in here, I came into this country in 1969. I went to University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. I'm a biochemist by training. but I also have an MBA. But I have lived in the African American community for more than 50 years. I have lived in North St. Louis for almost 40 years. I'm one of the few Africans that came into this country that actually lived and worked, and struggled, got involved in every aspect of the struggle of African American people in this community for the last 45, 47 years. I have learned it's not just me, is that I'm a reflection of the community within which I have grown over the last 55 years. Some of the most brilliant people I've met in my life are Black people right here in these communities. So it's not just me. In fact, I'm taking what I have learned from this community, and I'm beginning to add a little bit of my own contribution to better define it so that we can all move forward.
Walle Amusa is my guest, and I'm also getting an education here, but he has so much to give. We've got so many topics to point out that we probably have to make this a three-part show. But well, anyway, we're at the New Life Evangelistic Center, 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri, and Reverend Larry Rice has been here for more than 52 years, presenting things that were for our community, including human rights and human dignity. We'll be right back with Walle Amusa after this.
It takes many partners to operate New Life Evangelistic Center. We're a large ministry operating and serving so many people all throughout Missouri. And so we appreciate so much Bernie Hayes and his many years of dedicated service to people who are experiencing homelessness all throughout Missouri. But we need people like you to partner with Bernie Hayes and with New Life Evangelistic Center to make a real impact in the lives of people who are hurting now. In a very practical way, you are being the hands and feet of Christ in the streets of St. Louis and Springfield, Missouri, and beyond. So I want to thank everyone who is partnering with New Life Evangelistic Center. I want to challenge you to get involved today for the glory of God and the good of others in our community. Thank you so much, and God bless those who are making a big impact on the lives of hurting people.
Today's subject is Angela Davis, who was born in 1944 in Birmingham, Alabama. She's best known as a radical African-American educator and activist for civil rights and other social issues. As a graduate student at the University of California, San Diego in the late 1960s, she joined several groups, including the Black Panthers. Hired to teach at the University of California, Los Angeles, Angela Davis ran into trouble in the school's administration because of her association with communism. They fired her, but she fought them in court and got her job back. Outside of academia, Angela Davis becomes a strong supporter of three prison inmates in Soledad Prison. They were John Clisette, Frida Dungal, and George Jackson. They were accused of killing a prison guard. And during Jackson's trial in 1970, an escape attempt was made, and several people in the courtroom were killed. Angela Davis was brought up on several charges, including murder. After spending 18 months in jail, she was acquitted in 1972. Today, she's a professor at the University of California, Santa Cruz, and she teaches courses in history and consciousness after returning to the classroom. Angela Davis.
Is fear grabbing you as you hear of world events, the ever-growing crisis in the Middle East, wars and rumors of war? Is fear destroying your life? You can begin to live right now. You can rise up in the middle of such a time like this, exercising your faith in the reality that God loves you. He sent His Son who took your sins upon Himself. He died on that cross. He rose from the dead. Yes, accept that hope that is yours, both now and for all eternity, by calling on the name of the Lord.
And welcome back. My guest is Walle Amusa from the Campaign for Human Dignity. And Walle, you were making some very cohesive points there, and I'd like for you to continue.
Well, the fact is that all over the world, people are confronted with the same questions that we're dealing with right here in St. Louis. The same questions we're dealing with nationally. Mm-hmm. And those questions are, can we have double standards when it comes to human beings? Can we treat some this way either because of their nationality, because of their gender, because of their color, because of their religion or lack of religion, or because of their geographic location, or their sexual orientation. Can we not celebrate the integrity and dignity of that human personality, regardless of what they do, after we acknowledge that human beings are equal in terms of their rights that they're endowed with in this particular day and age? So when we look at it that way, it is not a very difficult challenge anymore. Political leaders have to now start thinking not just about themselves and how to win the next election. They have to think about what do we need to do for all the human beings, all the residents that we have sworn to serve. It no longer becomes how do we manipulate the system to put more resources in this part of the city or in this part of the state and ignore this other part of the city or this other part of the state. It becomes the question of equity gets totally imbued in the process because the process is one that acknowledges the equality of human rights.
How can one, again, reach you, support you, and get more information from you?
Well, the important thing is that it is not something that Campaign for Human Dignity can do or will do. It's something that Campaign for Human Dignity, with the support of others, can help us create a better society, a better community, better families. I think I just told you that I have a book that is coming out in the next couple of months. You know, the book is entitled Love and Kindness. It's not out yet.
But it will be.
But it will be in the next 2 weeks.
Sure.
And it's in that book that we try to that I try in my own way, share with the rest of the world the lessons that I have learned, living, working, thriving, and learning every day from Black people in this community. You know. So the Campaign for Human Dignity is not a national organization. National Campaign for Human Dignity can be reached nationalchd.org. The Campaign for Human Dignity is also, there's a telephone number there. People can call me and anytime, and they can join. It's very, very easy. It's open to anybody and everybody, regardless of faith, background, whatever, or disposition in life.
Well, about a minute left, Walle. Please tell us about Walle Amusa's family.
Where?
Your family.
I am so honored to have married a native St. Lucian. We've been married more than 40 years. I have 5 children, 3 daughters, 2 sons, and I have 4 granddaughters. And from them I have learned a lot. You know, to learn is to teach, and to teach is to learn. And they have contributed immensely to the kind of person that I am today. Humble, fierce, whatever the situation demands, but always respectful of the dignity of the human personality. I'm still learning from our community. I do whatever I can to support resources going into our community, and I'm willing to address and work with anybody, any organization, any community, to talk about these ideas so we can create a bigger community of concern and interest today.
Walle Amusa, I can't tell you how much it is just to see you again, my dear friend, and to get this message from you.
Thank you so much.
And each and every one of you, thank you for listening and viewing us here at the New Life Evangelistic Center. I'm Bernie Hayes. Until next time, have a great day.